Hello, David Snopek here from Snopek Games, and this is my 6th progress report about adding WebXR support to the Godot game engine. So a lot of exciting things have happened since my last progress report, starting with development. Like I mentioned in my last progress report, I was focused on finishing out a bunch of little things to complete almost all of the VR features in WebXR. So finally, I added support for the select and squeeze events, which I've talked about numerous times in earlier progress reports. These events are a lowest common denominator way to handle input for XR devices that works across a wide range of devices with a wide range of input methods and capabilities, from Google Cardboard all the way up to high-end VR headsets like the Valve Index or Oculus Quest. I'm planning to add a section about how to use those events to my tutorial, along with some new builds, which includes support for that and all these other little things. That should be coming soon. I took into account the Z far and Z near that Godot gives you in the projection for each of the eyes. That's a super minor 2-line change. I added a way to grab the bounds geometry. So that's supposed to be the points that make up the user's play area. So if you need to get like the size of the user's guardian to maybe expand or contract your VR world, that is how you would get it. Unfortunately, I had some trouble actually testing that when I tried to get this on my Oculus Quest, trying both, in the Oculus browser on the device as well as using Chrome or Firefox with Oculus Link. It just always returned an empty set of points. And I talked with some folks a little bit on the WebXR Discord who were also seeing the same behavior. A couple of Oculus developers chimed in and said, looking at the code, that's not what it's supposed to be returning. It's supposed to be returning a bounding box that fits inside of the user's guardian. But for whatever reason, that's not happening. So I would really love some help testing this out on other devices in other environments. Same with these events that I also added, the on-reset event and on-visibility change event. I'm seeing the on-visibility change event when I expect to see it, but not the on-reset event. I was expecting to get that when holding the Oculus button, and I've now reset my position, but for whatever reason, it's just not happening. And I think that's one of the challenges with WebXR, in that there's a wide range of devices that it works on, but also like a wide range of browsers that will maybe support those devices in different ways. So again, if anyone has a different kind of VR device and would like to help testing, just drop me a line. And I added class reference documentation for the WebXR interface, which will be added to the Godot game engine if and when this PR ever gets merged. But so this is, the basic kind of stuff. There's a little example here in the front, and then, all of the properties on the object, all of the methods, and exactly what you expect to see in the Godot class reference documentation. So, after getting all of those things in, I figured that my PR is ready for final review to be considered for merge, with the idea that any other bug fixes or features we want to add, we can do in future PRs. So I squashed this, enormous 3-month-old PR with loads of commits down to a single commit, and asked for review from Bastiano Lee, the VR AR maintainer for Godot, and Fales, the HTML5 maintainer for Godot, and also created a PR for Godot 4. Godot 4 still isn't released. It's in the works. It will come out sometime next year. And so I made a PR for Godot 4, which will compile, but so far won't actually work. And that's because Godot 4 still doesn't support WebGL or VR. Those things need to be re-implemented with all of the sort of restructuring and redesign that has happened around rendering in Godot 4. The biggest changes in Godot 4 are around rendering. But I think there's reason to believe that those will be added back fairly soon. On Twitter, Fales shared that he actually had Godot 4 WebGL rendering, which was based on work by Longelli, who has been working on adding OpenGL support back to Godot 4. Godot 4 rewrote the renderer to work on Vulkan, so the OpenGL support was removed, and he's working on adding it back. And also, I meant to have this up as well. Bastian Oli, the VR AR maintainer for Godot, was recently hired to work full-time starting in February. So there isn't currently VR support in Godot 4, but I imagine that once he has started full-time in February, he's going to get hard to work adding that back. And at that point, I should be able to actually make the Godot 4 version of WebXR actually work, which is super exciting. And equally exciting, Bastianoli actually got back and left a review and marked this PR with his approval, which brings us closer to this actually maybe being merged. Of course, his approval isn't everything. I'm also hoping to get approval from Fales, the HTML5 maintainer, and even with both their approval, there still is the other maintainers and contributors will need to decide if this is something that they want in Godot core, and I'm optimistic and hopeful that will come together, and we'll see. If it gets merged, then we can go on to adding more features, fixing bugs, looking at AR, and even if it doesn't get merged, we'll continue doing those things just as a fork rather than in the Godot core. But we'll see. I'm excited about all of these things and can't wait to talk to you in the next progress report. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about in this progress report. When NeoSpark 314 was getting his Oculus Quest toolkit to work on WebXR, he discovered that the y-axis on the thumbsticks was inverted compared to the y-axis when using the Oculus Quest API or the OpenVR API. OpenVR is SteamVR. And there's still this unresolved question of if WebXR should purposefully flip its y-axis to match those other two APIs. And I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do for a couple of reasons. So the y-axis from WebXR has -1 being up. I think that's right. Yes, -1 being up and 1 being down, which matches normal gamepads. Like if you plug in a normal gamepad to your PC, -1 on the y-axis will be up. And strangely, it's inverted on the Oculus Quest API and the OpenVR API. And what I don't know is what OpenXR does. OpenXR is a new open standard that everyone is moving to. Oculus is saying, use OpenXR when you're making Quest apps rather than their native one now. And so if anyone has a working OpenXR like demo environment and can go in there and tell me which direction the y-axis is when you get input from the controllers, I would love to know. Because I'm really afraid of if we say, okay, this is what Oculus Quest and OpenVR, SteamVR are doing right now, and we go and purposefully invert the WebXR y-axis to match those, and then Godot gets OpenXR support, which the whole world is moving to, and it doesn't invert the y-axis, then we will have just gone and purposely made WebXR like less compatible with the future. So I would love if anyone could test it out and let me know, and then we can decide what to do with WebXR so that it matches the future. So yeah, if you do, please leave me a comment, drop me a line, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.